I'm Jewly Hight here for Billboard, and to my left we have Kacey Musgraves, we have Maren Morris, we have Aubrie Sellers, we have Cam, we have Margo Price, and we have Guyton, and we are going to have a great conversation. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
To begin with, I'm wondering, how do you think the game has changed for women in country since 2006? And even since 1986.
I think that, especially now, there's a lot more diversity. And I think we went through a little lull for women in the country industry, and I think people are craving it now, and I think women are kind of coming back in country in a big way. So I think there's a lot of diversity and a lot more freedom for women to be themselves.
Yeah, I think for a while it was like just kind of the standard for you to have like a pretty face and a big voice. And now I don't feel like that's as important. I feel like what you're saying is kind of more important, the substance behind it. So as that gets more popular, I don't know, that makes me more excited.
I just feel like for a while, honestly since the Dixie Chicks, it seems like this perspective, especially on country radio from a female, it's like for a long time it's been just love songs, and I love love songs, but it's like we do have a little bit more to talk about.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were, like since they went away, there has been this gap in like what people are saying on the radio, what women are saying on the radio. So it's nice that there's like more perspective coming back now.
Yeah, it was either have like a relationship love song or be like pissed off, be like the pissed off female. It was like there was no in between. Like what happened to songs about life, like living, and especially in a genre that's supposed to be just about real life, you know?
And in the past, I think if you were outspoken that way, you were a huge outlier, like a Loretta Lynn or somebody like that, who there weren't that many, and I think there's more room for it now.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's in a good direction. I think that we definitely still have a way to go.
Here we are 1 year on from Tomato Gate, you know, which made it made sexism at country radio into a headline. It brought that, sort of to the forefront. But what are some concrete and direct ways that you have experienced, you have directly experienced sexism?
I was so fired up when that tomato thing happened. I made a shirt and it said, "You say tomato, I say fuck you." And I tweeted it at the guy whose name is, I'm not even going to repeat it. It was, it was an argument with him, and it was just no changing his mind. And yeah, he actually made my photo his profile picture on his Facebook, and then got all these people to say bad things about me, how I'm ugly, and I needed a nose job and all these things. And then I ended up getting rid of my personal Facebook and just blocking him on my Twitter. But I just can feel my blood pressure rising when I think about it. It makes me angry.
Well, I think it's just kind of like it was nice to maybe acknowledge that there was something going on. I mean, everybody knew there was something going on, but now there's also like there's like this excuse sometimes. Like when something doesn't go like 100% perfectly in your career, it's like, well, we are trying to break a female.
Yeah.
How important is it to you to be hands-on in the business side of things, and what was the last time you felt like someone was expecting you to just sort of go along?
Well, I'm learning that a lot myself starting out, because I'm like kind of the newest one. But for a long time, I let people kind of like not dictate who I was, but I was confused, Like I just assumed that all of these people in these powerful positions, they know what's hot, they know what's right in the industry and everything. And I let that go on for a long time. And then finally I was like sitting here like, you guys don't know who I am. And if I don't stand up and dictate who I am and am hands-on, like nobody cares more about your business than you.
Exactly.
Right. And you have to do that.
I mean, to a fault sometimes. I'm probably way too hands-on, but it's like, if I'm making a t-shirt designing a t-shirt for merch, like if I don't like the letter P on the shirt and it's in the wrong color, I'm gonna freaking say something. And like, it's just not about getting ahead in any way. It's just about conveying what makes me feel good. So if that's like, I don't know, I love knowing what's going on with like my money, like with my crew. I don't know, I want to be hands-on without letting it like drive me crazy and like deter from my creativity, because I'm not a number cruncher. I don't need to be, but like I want to have a safe like picture of what I'm looking at, you know, and I don't know, that's been like a new like learning thing for me. Just getting a handle on the business side of things. But as far as like communicating what I like and what I need to do, it's like I'm not gonna hold back because it's not their face on it, it's mine.
Exactly.
So,
It's your name, it's your face.
and don't let them, like, you can't let them ever make you feel like you're working for them. You know, it's like, it's a team. We're working together. And at the end of the day, like, you work for me, and this is my decision. So,
Aubrie, you're the only one here at this table who's a second generation artist, and I mean your mother, Leanne Womack, is a beloved singer and has had her own career. So what have you learned from watching how she's kind of navigated the business?
Well, the best thing I've learned from her is what we're saying. First of all, she's always been about the music. That is her love. That is what she cares about. I'd say she's probably even less detail-oriented as far as getting down the nitty-gritty of everything. I think I'm more of a perfectionist in that way. But as far as the music, she's always, you know, known who she was, and even visually and all of that, she has a thing, and she's a classic country. She loves country music. You know what I mean? So for me in my house, with all of my parents, all three of them, it was always about the music, and I was exposed to a lot of great music from childhood on, and so I think a lot of the other crap that comes along with the business is not really focused on in our family.
I feel like, you know, going back and talking about control and all these things, it kind of wraps into that. Our generation has to deal with social media, and if you have somebody else like posting for you and you don't approve how it is, it's really frustrating. So it's like, it's important, even though it seems like a waste of time and it like sucks away, you know, time that you could be using to be creative and do these things. It's like important.
They can tell when it's like marketing people and then it's you. And I feel like I get like I get so fiery about those things because I can tell when artists aren't saying anything on their social media.
Well,
It's like,
have any of you
someone else.
had something that was put out there on Twitter, on your Facebook, or some, you know, one of your social media platforms that just blew up? And well, I mean, you mentioned one earlier, but that kind of came back to bite you in the ass.
it's a learning process. I don't know. It's a double-edged sword. It's like, you follow me, you clearly want to see my, you know, point of view, but until it doesn't coincide with yours, and then you're all pissed off about it.
But what was the most egregious error or the worst example?
I got really annoyed when I kept seeing major manufacturers producing products that had my lyrics on it, and sometimes my name illegally. And there's a way to go about getting copyright to use something to produce, and they just aren't doing it right. And I don't know, to me, I'm like first and foremost a songwriter, so that's like my bread and butter. Like, I really don't make that much off touring, like sometimes hardly anything. So I like live for songwriting, and it's really annoying. On one hand, I'm like, great, okay, someone thinks enough of my lyrics to like put it on a t-shirt or put it on a wooden sign at Boot Barn. But like, you know, can I be included in that? It's legal to put a song title on something, say follow your arrow or whatever. It's not legal to say a song phrase, follow your arrow wherever it points, much less quote my name on it. Like, I approved on it. Like, that's giving people the assumption that I stamped the approval and it's part of my brand. I had nothing to do with it. Anyway, yeah, cut me in on it, this shit. It's my lyrics. And like, I like posted about it, and I just, in a nice way, just tried to say, look, this is bothering me. And people, I've never seen people be so rude.
You think your fans would be supportive?
It
like,
got ran by like all these media outlets because people love drama. But it's like, I lost so many fans over it, and I'm just like, if, you know, they were like, didn't know you cared about $10. You know, it's like, it's not about that.
You were talking about the crazy times that we live in earlier. Part of that is the presidential race that we're ramping up toward. So I wonder, I mean, what do you make of Hillary Clinton, and just the fact that there is a woman who's a major party candidate for the first time?
I mean, it's great in that way, but I'm gonna be honest, like, I was really into the last election, and this one, I just feel so dejected. And
it starts so early. It's in your face all the time. Like,
no, and it's just soundbite culture of like people saying the worst thing, and then I just want to put my head in the sand because It's like, where did my vote go the last time? I honestly.
I don't even feel like they
votes
count anyway.
Right? It's
I
not
really
like
don't.
paper
Like,
ballot,
I'm
it's
a
just
I kind of have a conspiracy. I don't know. Like I'm like, do they really? I feel like this has been already like written into existence for like.
Right, you're voting in a computer.
It's already there.
Well,
I don't
also,
know.
the media controls everyone's perceptions of things, and I think that people don't have time. Every person in this country doesn't have time to sit down and go through go through Hillary's entire record and go through.
It's a lot of
you know what I mean?
hearsay.
Yeah, and so all
Right.
you're hearing is like you're saying sound bites and garbage, and it's just I think it's so representative of our time in that it's a freaking reality show, freak show.
It
It's
is.
not a real presidential race.
It's drama
Yeah.
and.
Yeah, it's like Idiocracy. That movie.
It is. Yeah, it is.
How are we here?
I think it is kind of
2016.
tough with the Hillary stuff though, because you do want to be
Most
really
clear, 'cause she's a
excited that
woman.
there is. But I think probably the same thing with us too. We're like, I mean, I'm glad that other women are glad that I'm a woman that's making music, but it probably should go deeper than that, right? So, but
Shouldn't be like the signifier. But I will say, like, I don't want to get political here just because, like, I have no education on any of these topics in the last few months on the presidential race. But, like, just what, obviously it's a soundbite, but just everything I've heard out of Trump is definitely shocking. And the fact that he's got, like, women fans, it's like very alarming to me because some of the stuff that has come out of his mouth is just so awful, and I don't know, I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I feel really not hopeless, like that's very dramatic, but it's super emo. I need like an emo bang to say this. No, I just feel like I'm not inspired by
Yeah. Can we have more options?
Yeah.
Is this it?
Two-party system.
Is this it?
Two-party
Yeah.
system.
Where's Ron Paul?
Didn't people used to joke about Willie Nelson for president? Or there are bumper stickers?
Yeah, and actually I was like, hey, you know, why don't you run for president? You know you'd win. He's like, I'm not running because I do know that I would win. You know he would.
It's possible.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you cut through the noise, what do you feel like really are the most important issues facing people of your generation, or even specifically women of your generation?
Equality is a big one in all areas. I love that we're sitting here worried about what bathroom someone's going to walk into when there's people walking into clubs shooting people in the face. It's like, use whatever bathroom you want. I don't care. Go outside or something. I don't know.
Not in front of children.
Yeah, true.
I loved how that was like a huge topic because it's like if you're in the bathroom, there are unisex bathrooms anyways, so what's the big deal? And you're in a stall, hopefully, if you're using the bathroom.
Like
so
you're not
they act
hanging
like,
out in there.
yeah, you're just naked, like bottomless. You're gonna see someone's junk.
It's just about being open-minded and educating yourself, and we're losing it. People don't read anymore. People don't look into things. They just read sound bites, sound bites, sound bites. They read Twitter feeds and Facebook, and that's where they
Nobody
get their
has the
information.
attention span to actually sit down and do the research.
but we all have big mouths.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody's got an opinion. Yeah.
I think we all, probably our generation needs to learn how to deal with that a little bit
Oversharing, I
better.
believe, is what that's called.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really know where I stand on a lot of things. Like, torn between ideas of the government helping us, but also working really hard for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't really know. I don't know what to think about it.
The two-party system is not serving a lot of us, and especially I think the younger generation, and that's why the Ron Paul movement was so big. I think there was a lot of people who go, oh my God, there's a different option here for us, or whatever third-party candidate, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like Bernie Sanders has some great ideas, but it's like almost splitting the Democratic vote in two.
Well, the problem is they just pick immediately who's got the best chance instead of really giving
looking
it.
at the issues.
Yeah.
And it's always like the lesser of two evils. I feel like that's what it always comes down to, which is very sad. But and it's also so polarizing. It's like if you have any opinions that are at middle of the road, like you're not super left, you're not super right, they label you as like wishy-washy or a rhino or whatever it's called. I just feel like, oh, okay, so I'm like even-keeled. Is that what you are trying to say?
Yeah.
Level-headed.
Yeah, level-headed.
It just seems like there's so much greed in everything. I feel like that's what fuels everything. Like lobbying, that's a real thing.
Oh yeah.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah, and the campaign funds, it's like, think about what we could be doing. Think what we could be doing with that money.
Next.
Something else that you all share in common, in addition to the fact that you all are artists who happen to be women, is that you all write your material, and many of you have a hand in shaping the production, the arrangement, I mean, how it ends up feeling and sounding, you know, and I wonder, when is the last time that it was difficult to get your ideas in that arena taken seriously?
If it was, I would walk out the door.
Seriously,
not to be dramatic, but it's like,
you know, like,
yeah, like don't even go into a situation where your integrity and your thoughts would be questioned.
And that's
you know
exactly
what I mean? Like,
why.
steer clear of
just
that.
find your tribe.
Yep, that's why I made my record before I had a label or anything, started working on it, and then, you know, I put it out independently in a way out of fear, because I didn't want someone to change it, you know.
Artist development.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need that. You know, if you should develop yourself, and then when you're ready, make a record.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, production, that's my favorite part of it. That's always been my favorite part. I love writing. I think writing comes first, probably for Kacey, but I like writing. But production for me is something, and that's also a very male-dominated profession.
It is.
So I think I didn't put producer credit on my own record, because I think as an artist that should be obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's sad that it's not. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't obvious necessarily, though. I mean, sometimes you have to spell that out.
Sometimes you can be put with a producer that has wildly different ideas than yours, and might you know, pull you out of your comfort zone in a good way.
I was really nervous about that too, and I did the same thing, like a Kickstarter. I did it on my own, and it wasn't that I met anyone that overrode me, but sometimes I'm a very agreeable person, and I want other people to be happy in the room, and that's a real thing. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but so if there's too many people around, like I feel that pressure without them even saying it to me. So it's
that's what I was gonna say.
and do it by myself.
Even if somebody's not directly ordering you around or whatever it is, if you just are hearing things, if you're letting, it's the same as reading reviews of your records or looking at what people are saying online. It's just gonna get in your head. You can't help it. Nobody wants to see somebody talking shit about you, you know what I mean? Or whatever, so I think that can really get in your head. I think it's good to try not to look at that, try to push it out, because it can definitely influence you, not, you know, subconsciously.
Maren, you are a Texas singer-songwriter who happened to work with a really pop-savvy writer-producer for this album, and it's interesting to me. I mean, a lot of your country predecessors, when doing pop-influenced stuff, also felt the need to really emphasize their country authenticity. Why are you able to be so comfortable, you know, and not have to explain yourself in that way?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Before the record came out, I did feel nervous that people would think it's all over the place and too pop or whatever. But then I just slept on it, and I realized, like, as long as I'm the first person that loves it and I'm happy with it, it's like I have to release it out into the world and let the chips fall where they may, and not worry about people's perceptions of like the genre. And I was so lucky to see the response be so positive. And working with Busby, he kind of gets the country and the pop worlds, and I feel like that's where my headspace always is too. I've been a writer here in Nashville for the last like 3.5 years, and I've written, you know, pop songs on a Monday, and then on a Wednesday a really like traditional, like sad bluegrass feeling song. I don't know, I can't really cherry pick the genres I'm doing, so I didn't feel like I had to do that on the record either. And I'm sure some people will hear it and be like, this is pop. Well, cool, I love pop too, so what's the big
Yeah, it's just clear that you don't apologize for it.
Yeah, and you know, I don't sing with like a twang. I'm from Texas, but it's a very true reflection of my upbringing and what my parents listened to, what I was brought up on, and it wasn't just country, and so I don't know why my record would be just country.
And Margo, you were talking about your difficulty in finding a home for the album. I mean, you wound up releasing it on Jack White's label, and although he's produced Loretta Lynn and Wanda Jackson, he's not really known as being a country insider. So when has it come in handy to be positioned kind of like an outsider in a way?
I think it's worked to my advantage. I mean, Loretta Lynn has said you either have to be first grade or different, and I feel like what all of us do is different. You know, everybody has their own kind of thing. So it's been easy to kind of go in between the country world and then the rock and roll world, and not really worry about, you know, the labels.
I define my music myself with a term so that other people wouldn't.
Garage country.
Yeah, I decided to do that because I think it's the most accurate description of my music, and I think that sort of helps you create your own lane instead of everyone else trying to figure out where to put you.
I feel like, I don't know, I felt like mine could be described as country music for people who don't like country music, and country music for people who do like country music.
That's pretty broad and ambiguous.
Okay.
Yeah, I came up with the term that's modern traditional country because there's like, it's rooted, but it's,
Yeah.
I'm living right now, so it's modern.
When was the last time you all felt like you had to choose between either being liked or being respected?
I mean, like you said, it's easy to be a people pleaser, but it's not what's going to make me happy, you know? So you do have to put your foot down sometimes, and even if somebody calls you a feminist, or, you know, women get labeled as bossy, where it's like, maybe I'm a leader, you know? Maybe I just know what I want.
That's for me.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of people to deal with in the beginning. Like, I didn't have any management or anything, any team, so I was just making music. And I think I've learned how to be confident and state my opinion and be true to myself, but not be inflammatory or rude, or, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm going to be myself, and if that pisses somebody off, then they can deal with that, because you know what I mean?
I think I've learned to be diplomatic because, you know, there are luckily very few people that are a little misogynistic in the industry, and I just feel like it's more about diffusing, like if they're flirtatious or, you know, say a joke that's like inappropriate, it's like diffusing the awkwardness that they've created. It's not your problem to, but yeah, I feel like once you sort of stand your ground a little bit, they back down. And
or not making them feel comfortable.
Right.
It's not your job to make them feel comfortable.
I've wondered, Mickey, I've sort of been, you know, watching since as you were developing, and because, I mean, it was clear immediately that you had this voice, and I wonder, I mean, we're sitting here talking about women's experience, but I know that people are also hyper conscious of the fact that you are one of the few women of color who's achieved real success within the country music industry. And I mean, how do you tend to deal with that or respond to just how conscious people are of that?
You would think that people are pretty conscious, but they're not. Like, I don't have these crazy, weird, awkward moments. Everybody's been very kind to me and very open to me, and the reality of it is music doesn't see color like a lot of people would think it does. It doesn't. I've had a lot of support, and it's been really, really great.
But you get asked about it a lot.
I do.
Like
I do.
right now.
I do get asked about it a lot, but people outside of the entertainment world or outside of, you know, all what we do, they don't say that. I've only had one awkward comment said to me, and I went out, I was doing something, and someone says, "Oh my God, you're so tan." I'm looking at myself like, last time I checked, this is what I wake up like every day.
Surely they were
since
being
I was born.
facetious.
So. No, she was dead serious, and I thought she was kidding, but she wasn't. But I haven't had any, you know,
That's
really,
weird.
really
I gotta have you
weird,
spray tan.
weird experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you all consider mentors in life and in music?
I feel like mine's usually like if we're talking about tribes, like a lot of it comes from the people that I feel like it's like kibbutz style where you like raise each other. And like that is a huge influence on me because I didn't have like my parents or grandparents, nobody did music or anything. So I think it was kind of like a really weird life choice that doesn't look like a lot of people. I didn't know any musicians or anything. So I think having that little group to sort of lean on is like you help mentor each other, and you definitely fuck up and stuff, but like, you know, the mistakes, like you learn and you get better
You get
and
inspired
like
by each other.
yeah, and you're all like naive enough to get super excited about what you can do, and it's like really inspiring.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's something that I wasn't really a part of growing up in the industry. I see like a lot of people who move to Nashville and they have like these really close-knit friend groups of songwriters and artists, and I feel like that I've always been a little bit of an outsider in that because I grew up in the business and I was here. So I think sometimes I feel like a little separated
You
from
never
it.
were the new girl in town.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like I don't know these people. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. It just makes me a little bit of a outsider in that way. And growing up in the business, I think I knew a lot about it, but it's a lot different when you're in their driver's seat. So I think I had obviously a very different experience than people who moved here.
Yeah.
Casey and I are in a similar friend circle here in town that I mean, you introduced me to most of the people I spend my free time with when I'm in town, and I feel like we've all done a pretty good job at, well, like inspiring each other musically. Not that that's like the most important thing, but also like holding each other accountable and not having yes people around you. If you have that early on, it's just like, it's really insidious, and I feel like the people that let you get away with shit, those are not your friends. And so I feel really influenced by the friend group that we have here and the writers we write with.
Well, who else is in the friend group?
So our friend Kree Harrison is in there, and Lucy Silvis, John and TJ from Brothers Osborne. There's a
Natalie
bunch of us.
Hemby,
Yeah, Hemby, Nancy Hembry.
Fancy.
Fancy. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch. And like even on the outskirts of that too. Just, I don't know, I do feel like Nashville is a really close-knit community in that way, and it doesn't feel super catty. Like it feels really like homey and like supportive. I don't know, like our friends group, like everyone's got their own shit going on, but we all kind of keep an eye on each other and just like, you know, congratulate each other on what's going on, and I don't know, just it feels good.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I mean, Nashville's not known to be a feuding sort of place, but that is actually, that's not just the reputation, that's the reality on the ground that you live with, yeah. What do you feel like it takes to get labeled a rebel or rebellious in country music, whether that label's coming from, I mean, within the industry or sort of being placed on you by outside observers? What does it take?
I think people that, how do I say this? That stand up for what they believe, that don't follow what's expected of you.
Really just being different from it, you know, being yourself.
I think that's considered
rebellious.
rebellious.
Singing about things and having production that is outside of like 5 choices. That's
having your own opinion.
It's kind of hip too right now. Like everyone's like, oh, that's mainstream, and then critical acclaim comes from like left field. You know, like that's where like when you're really a real artist, is when you're kind of outside like the main what people do. And I think rebel's like a really good word.
Even just like being a woman and saying a cuss word, it's like,
And you are certainly not the only woman at this table who curses in song lyrics or on stage or in life or in interviews or anything like that.
yeah. Follow me around for 2 seconds.
Horrible. Yeah, we're gonna have to bleep this interview, but I love it.
I think we all had at least one bad word.
Yeah, but it's so nice that it's like there's more than one like female narrative. So it's like there's all these girls that are listening and watching right now that are going to be the next chicks that are doing this, and like they don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have blonde curly hair, what am I going to do? It's like, no,
That's the Cam template.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like there's sometimes there's this one story, and like that's so detrimental to like the next group of people for like what they can dream that they can be, and it's like give them as many stories as possible, you know. And I think that's what's really cool about this group and this special little emergence of like women coming in.
Yeah, and listeners too, like people that are growing up listening to what we're saying. It's like, there was this quote in an article a few years ago, and it was women being labeled as these like this pretty scenery at the sausage party. And I always think about that because it's just, well, it's funny, but also, you know, little girls and like kids that are listening to country music and hearing different perspectives, that puts roots down in the way that their brain works and what is their normal. And I feel like, you know, we are chipping away at that normal.
There's like the whole princess culture that is like pushed upon girls so early, you know, and I think for a long time,
Oh, gosh.
for a long time, my whole success I thought was not happening because I didn't fit the mold. I wasn't pretty enough. You know, I had a broken nose. I wasn't the Barbie that everybody wanted me to be. But now there's, you know, you can actually have a voice and say something, and people care.
And people are responding.
Yeah.
People want to hear good music. They don't care what you look like, you know?
I think it's better if you look not super pretty. I think that's because then you know people are into you for your talent and not because you're like Pamela Anderson.
That's another template, the Pamela Anderson template. You were talking a minute ago, well, several minutes ago, about song lyrics, and I mean, of course, you saw the power of people responding in positive and negative ways to one little lyric with Follow Your Arrow. But I mean, are there, as you're in the process of writing and recording and making all these decisions, have you ever shelved the lyrics because you just knew how they would be received and you just didn't want to have to deal with it?
No, I mean, the only thing that shapes my music is just whether it makes me feel good or not. And I feel like if other people start to like it or it gets attention, then it's kind of the icing on the cake of getting to do what I love for a living. I find myself like writing sometimes, and we'll be writing and just like, can we say this? You know, we'll have this idea. It's like, oh, I wish we could say it like that. And then I'm like, wait, why don't we? Let's just say it. Let's just say it like that. And it's always best, I don't know, for me anyway, just to like keep it conversational. And you know, have it come out like you would be, you know, talking in a conversation with somebody about it.
I have had one song that I shelved, and it was everything that's been going on in the last 2 years with you know, what cops are doing to the Black culture and gunning down people. I was so upset when I read about Michael Brown, and I was so upset for his mother because it just was a terrible thing, and I wrote a song about it, but I didn't know how it would be accepted as me being like a white woman who, and I don't want to capitalize off of the pain. I just think that it's something that needs to be talked about. But
As a woman that has a son.
Right, and I'm a woman who's lost my son, and I wrote the song for his mother, and I actually had a friend like recite the poem at an event, but that's as far as it's went, because I saw a couple other of my friends who talked about that, and they immediately got, you know, criticized. It's like, well, how dare you talk about this? You know, you're white. But I think it's just something
it's just human. So
yeah.
I want to hear it.
I'll send you an email.
Yeah. I wish we could sit here and talk all day, because you all have heads on your shoulders. You all have things to say, vantage points, and I love hearing them. I know everyone else will too. But I just want to thank you for being here. Mickey and Margo and Cam, Aubrie, Maren and Kacey, thank you so much for participating and bringing your A game.
Good questions.
A table of badass.
That's right.
Next time we'll bring tequila.
We're doing an album.
Time we have.
So the tour starts next fall.
Everybody get your plug in.